AITA for not agreeing to let my wife travel internationally with our baby daughter.
Story 2. AITA for still making my father pay for my schooling even though my mother apparently stole from the education fund. Story 3. AITA for kicking out a friend because of the gift she got me for my birthday.
AITA for not agreeing to let my wife travel internationally with our baby daughter. We have a 10-month-old daughter, our first child. I am born and raised in the US while my wife's family is from Asia. After our daughter was born, my wife's family has not had the chance to see her. My wife hasn't seen her family in about 2 years as well, except for her sister and brother who live in the same city as us. The rest of her family is in Asia. She wanted to plan a trip to visit them with the baby. She wanted to leave around end of April initially. Initially I was 100% on board with it. We are not financially well off, so in order to pay for her trip I have been working close to 60 hours for past 3 months. I was putting my money in actions where my mouth is. Things got complicated when she wanted to celebrate our daughter's first birthday away from me. She now wants to leave 1 week before her initial plan so our daughter can celebrate her birthday with her parents and family back home. While I would still be in the US, she also wants to now go for about 4 months. I had multiple discussions with her. I explained to her that I want to be with my daughter for her first birthday. I also do not want to spend such a long time away from her. I want to watch my daughter grow up. I don't want to miss her first moments. I cannot make this trip with her due to finances. We both cannot afford to stop working at the same time. We are barely keeping afloat, especially with how expensive the trip will be. Her taking such a long time off work is also not financially feasible. Her response was that I should come for a week with her, celebrate our daughter's birthday and then go back. Her family lives on a remote island between Asia mainland and Australia. It's a 2-day trip each way costing more than $4,000 in tickets, not counting pandemic shenanigans. So her expectation is I travel for 4 days, stay for 3 days and spend $4,000 rather than her delaying her trip by a week. She is now calling me a controlling misogynic asshole who is not supportive of her. Top 5 comments. 1. NTA is nothing controlling or misogynistic about not wanting to be separated from your baby for 4 months. The issue isn't the travel itself, it's the length of time you'd be separated and the emotional and financial strain that will put on you and the family. That puts your wife in major odd territory. 2. NTA, you don't mention how long the trip was originally, but 4 months is a big jump for most trips. Even if she was planning on being there a month. With the pandemic still happening, who knows what is going to happen with international travel. The last thing you want is your wife and child stuck on the other side of the planet. 3. NTA, 4 months including her birthday is way too long for you to be away from your child. Goodness, she wouldn't recognize you. You and your wife need to take a deep breath and discuss. What are the options? Why has this trip ballooned? Is there something going on at home that she hasn't shared? Can her family visit you? 4. NTA, you as a father deserve time with your child. 4 months is ridiculous. You as a couple cannot afford this trip. And she's disregarding both your rights as a father and your financial stability as a family. Unfortunately, this is a red flag for her respect, or lack thereof, for you. 5. NTA, I'm in a similar situation. Wife is from overseas and has proposed lengthy stays to see her family with our kids. I'm fine with 2-3 weeks, no problem. But 1+ months is too long for a child to go without their father. I've proposed compromising by being okay with a 5-week trip, with me coming to visit for a week in the very middle so my kids would be without me on 2 weeks of each end of the trip. But even that is pretty hard to accept in my mind, and I'm in a much different financial position than you are. I think, regarding the birthday, it's not an event your child will remember or even understand. If it wasn't for the money problem, I would recommend compromising here. You could celebrate her birthday at home either a little early or a little later. It's not worth a fight. She is now calling me a controlling misogynic asshole who is not supportive of her. The name-calling and accusations need to stop. Not getting her way isn't a justification for personal attacks. It's an opportunity for further discussions or negotiations.
Story 2. AITA for still making my father pay for my schooling even though my mother apparently stole from the education fund. When my parents divorced, my mother was given primary custody and my father had to pay child support. My father was also ordered to cover 80% of my university costs. My mother was not the greatest person, so I moved into my grandmother's home when I was 16. I'm not very close to my father because he lives 4 hours away. He is remarried like my mother and has 2 younger children. When I was 18, I found out from my father that my mother had stolen most of the money from the education account that she had access to. She has since left the country and he has no way to get the money back. Well, maybe I'm the e-hole, but I don't really think the issues between my mother and father are my problem. I still sent him the invoice for my university fees and told him he's legally obligated to pay for it. I covered my share using scholarships. This has put my father in a lot of financial stress and he is struggling. He's told me it's causing huge issues in his marriage and his ability to provide for his younger children. But I couldn't get larger grants and scholarships because of my father and mother's financial status. So I'm still expecting him to pay for my schooling. AITA. Top 5 comments. 1. YTA, and an entitled one at that. I don't really think the issues between my mother and father are my problem. Maybe he thinks the issues between you and your mother example. Her stealing from you are not his problem, especially since he already paid once. I hope he has a way to show that he's already paid, and therefore doesn't have to a second time. Congratulations on completely destroying your relationship with him, and probably his life, because paying for college once is no picnic. Twice, yeah, no, you don't care about anyone but yourself, and that's why YTA. ETA, Opus doesn't state where they live, but where I live US, a college is not a right, unfortunately. B, it is illegal for a minor to have a bank account without a co-signing parent, so, those saying dad was stupid for giving mom access, he may not have had a choice. 2. NTA, he was ordered by a judge to pay. Sadly, him not safeguarding the funds is a matter for him, your mother, and the police. It honestly isn't your problem. If he had simply promised, I would have a different judgment. But there's a court order here. If he can't pay, he needs to file for bankruptcy. The fact that you can't get additional funding because of his finances, that suggests that he can pay it but refuses, although this differs by area. In my country, family finances only affect your funding if they're very high earners. If he filed for bankruptcy, etc. to explain legally why he can't pay, your funding situations would change. He isn't. He has a court order to pay. He needs to pay and pursue your mother through the court's insurance. That's it. Edit. A judge ordered him to provide the funds. Him losing them is his problem. He was court-ordered to provide them. I don't understand commenters saying it's Opus's responsibility when a judge literally ruled that it was their father's. He needs to provide the funds or say he can't by filing bankruptcy. That's the law. 3. NTA, these people are forgetting that it's court-ordered that your dad pay for your school fees. He walked away from you and started a different family. That doesn't mean he can just stop paying for the child he currently has. He better start figuring out ways to make more money. 4. NTA, I am floored by the YTA rulings here. Dad had a saving account set aside. It was money owned by him or possibly him and ex-wife. Money was stolen. Said, Dad should sue ex-wife and have her prosecuted if possible. But that loss does not absolve the dad of his legal obligation to pay for 80% of the college expenses. The official divorce agreement did not say dad had to maintain a savings account. It says he has to cover the expenses. If he doesn't like it, he needs to take it up with the court and the ex-wife, not Opus. 5. NTA, your father is mandated to pay 80% of your college costs. You are asking that he live up to this obligation. Separately, he claims that he had the money set aside in an account that your mother depleted. If that is true, he should seek to recover the money from your mother. Your father can file to amend the court order due to these circumstances. However, he cannot try to collect it from you. You don't have any of this money, or even proof that it ever existed. He is the ass for trying to transfer this problem onto you instead of dealing with it himself. Your mother is also the ass for stealing this money or at minimum not clearing up this situation. Your parents both abandoned you and chose not to live with you, making them attempting to skip out on their financial obligations to you makes them more so. NTA, I see a lot of comments that the father already paid. No, he didn't. The only amounts paid for Opus's college so far have been paid by Opus via scholarships. Story 3. AITA for kicking out a friend because of the gift she got me for my birthday. I have a friend who keeps calling me a gold star lesbian. For people not in the know, it is a lesbian who has never had sex with men. It is a term that I don't like and I will never use it myself. I am dating a bi woman and I am not interested in condoning shit which excludes her and other bi people. My friend keeps calling me gold star. I don't like it and I have told her that I didn't want her to use it, but she didn't get the message and doubled down. I avoid her as much as possible, but I invited her to my birthday because everyone else was invited. She got me gold star stickers, the kind that teachers uses. It really pissed me off as she is straight and I had repeatedly told her to not to do it. I told her I didn't want it and I asked her to leave. She tried to apologize, but I didn't want to listen to her and told her to just leave. It has led to people taking both our sides in the issue. I should have sucked it up to instead of lashing out at her. I feel bad because I know how important being the helpful friend is for her, and getting kicked out probably hurt her a lot. Top 5 comments. 1. NTA. RL, thank you for checking this behavior. It's honestly disgusting and disheartening. I'm bi, but technically, if I identified as lesbian, would qualify for gold star status. I've dated but never slept with men. My lesbian partner has actually had sex with men before coming to terms with her sexuality. The concept of gold stars tries to make out that there's a right and wrong way to be lesbian and shames women who didn't know or embrace their sexuality earlier in life. It's divisive and has implicit biphobia. Good on you for calling your friend out. That's not allyship. It's thinly veiled biphobia bigotry. Edited to add, if she wants to be the helpful friend, she should listen to you and learn what good allyship actually is. 2. Oh no, NTA. You told her repeatedly that you don't like that term, that you don't like being called that, and that you don't think of yourself that way. For her to continually persist, particularly as a straight woman, is really rude and bordering on bullying. I would have definitely kicked her out and told her the friendship is done. Because clearly talking to her about it isn't working, she just doesn't listen. 3. She was purposely cruel in the guise of it being only a joke after having gotten multiple warnings. I think you are NTA. You don't owe explanation to others, but if you feel you must, you can simply point out it was the straw that broke the camel's back. 4. NTA. Obviously, you stood up for yourself for good reasons, and she'd had clear warnings previously that she ignored. But also, why is she so obsessed with making this point against your express wishes? What benefit is there to her? Obviously she finds it funny, but why is she so obsessed with the joke that she refuses to let it go even when specifically asked not to talk about it anymore? Very odd situation. If you want to continue the friendship at this point, you probably need an honest answer about these questions. 5. Thank you for being an ally to bisexual women. We get so much shit from the lesbian community, which I'm sure is one reason we have such high levels of mental health problems and suicide attempts. NTA.